Well, since I've been doing videos on Bitcoin, I've only mentioned Ethereum once because it was recently in the Webbot report for the first time ever that I've ever heard of it. And he mentioned then, Cliff High did, that Ethereum is kind of a competitor to Bitcoin. And no matter how good it does, and it will do good, it's not going to do like Bitcoin. But it'll be like a second place kind of a thing. I guess their claim to fame with Ethereum is that there's no fees you have to pay to some of these exchanges. Like every time you transfer a coin to somebody or whatever, there's some kind of minuscule 0.00012% of a Bitcoin used for a transaction fee. Kind of like the banks do when you ever use a credit card. Whoever the company is, the business that you're using it at, their account gets nicked a little tiny, 30 cents on every transaction, whatever their system set up to do. And then a percentage of, 1% on such, 30% initial fee, 1% on the total, things like that. So that's how Bitcoin and all the other altcoins were doing it. There's always this little teeny tiny fee. You can't compare it to the banks, I don't think. It's kind of different, but yet there's a fee there. You're losing some of your Bitcoin at a teeny tiny percentage. So I think Ethereum came out and said, there's not going to be any of these charges. Just use the thing. However, according to Silver Doctors, I just read this today myself, Bitcoin's largest competitor, Ethereum, has been hacked. Over $60 million worth of Ethers stolen. 1 month ago, Fred Ersem, co-founder of Coinbase, in a sweeping 2,500-word blog post, took aim at what he called a stagnant Bitcoin community that he characterized as being outperformed by innovators working on the Ethereum network. In the post, Ersem sought to position Ethereum as a possible competitor to Bitcoin, indicating his belief that the competing protocol could blow past Bitcoin entirely. Perhaps he was merely peeved at the lack of commission fees Coinbase was generating. In his post, Ersem said, "There is nothing that Bitcoin can do which Ethereum can't. While Ethereum is less battle-tested, it is moving faster, has better leadership, and has more developer mindshare. First mover advantage is challenging to overcome, but at current pace, it's conceivable." Also, as CoinDesk reported recently, those close to the project were beginning to use the DAO as Ethereum's flagship application, one that they believe could hold the key to ensuring a lasting, favorable impression for Ethereum's technology, or scar its reputation, with some comparing the DAO as the possible Ether equivalent of Bitcoin's once largest and now bankrupt exchange, Mt. Gox. So DAO is essentially this exchange that these Ethereum are being bought and sold through. As of this morning, however, it is decidedly the latter, because it turns out there was something else that Bitcoin's biggest emerging competitor could do, and that is get hacked. As CryptCoin News reports, Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin has asked digital currency exchanges to pause Ether and activity on the decentralized autonomous organization, or DAO, actively following a hack of the DAO smart contract address. As a reminder, Ethereum is the blockchain platform that enabled the DAO's creation. The DAO is currently being drained of Ethers in a still ongoing breach, as of this morning, to the unknown attacker's ETH address. The ongoing hack and possible theft deemed as an attack on the DAO by Vitalik Buterin has the co-founder of Ethereum issue a plea seeking digital currency exchanges to pause their Ether and DAO transactions. And in a post on the Ethereum subreddit, Buterin wrote, "DAO attack. Exchanges, please pause ETH and DAO trading, deposits and withdrawals until further notice. More info will be forthcoming ASAP." And now that Hours have gone by. I don't think that qualifies as ASAP, but I'll continue. The same message was relayed through their social media account on Twitter. Griff Green, spokesman for Slockit, the creators of the DAO, stated on the DAO Slack channel, the DAO is being attacked. It has been going on for 3 to 4 hours. It is draining ETH or Ethereum at a rapid rate. This is not a drill. Amusingly, the attacker's ETH address is still accumulating Ethereum's token currency with a balance of 3.5 million ethers, currently valued at 59.05 million USD. In an interesting note from Ethereum's self-description, which may have to be modified here shortly, Ethereum is a decentralized platform that runs smart contracts, applications that run exactly as programmed without any possibility of downtime, censorship, fraud, or third-party interference. It looks like both fraud and third-party interference have taken place all at the same time. As a result, the price of Ethereum took a drastic dive this morning as news of the hack spread. Millions of Ether are moving to an unknown address, with some suggesting that it may be a recursive split hack. As shown in the chart below, the value of Ether has plummeted following the breach, losing over 20% of its value, which I don't need to show you the chart. I'm telling you how much it is right now, 20%. And ironically, Stefan Tull, founder of Ethereum startup Slockit, which created the code on which the DAO was built, told CoinDesk just a few days ago, quote, "You don't want a bad story about Ethereum. If the DAO were to crash, people would compare it to Mt. Gox when it crashed with Bitcoin and got closed or whatever the hell happened to that thing. To try to steal Bitcoin and all that crap. That's precisely what is about to happen. As for Bitcoin, it fell earlier in trading in sympathy, I guess, with Ethereum, tumbling 10% from multi-year highs around 770. Well, recent highs, as in like it was 770. And I was going to say, I don't have my phone in front of me. I have to see exactly what the price is. But has since promptly regained losses as Bitcoin once again emerges as the front-running protocol. Finally, all of this just goes to show that when it comes to money, whether digital, paper, or hard currency, there is simply no replacement to being able to hold it in one's hand, which is why I love saying a million times when telling people when you get your precious metals, if you don't hold it in your possession, you don't own it. But I've got a warehouse receipt. Good luck getting that should anything happen. I've got an allocated account. See, MF Global collapsed. They stole everything out of their clients' allocated accounts. If this is not in my hand, oh, look at that. That's blinding you, ain't I? I'm blinding you through the screen. It's not in your hand. You don't own it. You may think you do. You don't own it. So, matter of fact, since I'm here, let me just see what Bitcoin is actually at. Bitcoin price online, $762. So it has since rebounded anyways. $762. It's not looking good for the economy and everything else. But Webbot said to look for this. And remember what Webbot said back in, gosh, was it October time frame? When you see Bitcoin do this little above 408, then 428, then back down, above 408, then back down, and the third time it goes above that, it's going to stay. And then we thought it happened because it moved twice like that in one day, as I've mentioned before, but for my new subscribers, you may not have heard this. So we said, oh, it looks like it happened, but then Bitcoin actually went back down below 400. That's scratching our heads. And then someone had emailed me and said, hey, hold on. Just because it did it twice in one day doesn't really count. When you're looking at daily closings of the market, price closings on anything, it's always what it closed out the day before. So if you look up any historical chart, it doesn't tell you if gold went up $50 at some point during the day, but then lost $30 it ended the day at only $20 up. They don't count the $50. You don't see that in the chart. It's just, or at least for the daily chart, that's what it is. So he said, if you look at that, it hasn't happened yet. We're waiting for one more. And we were waiting and waiting. And then bingo, it hit about, 2 months ago or so? I did a video. Hey, look, I think we got something here. And sure as hell, we're at 762. $408 was this thing we're trying to get past 3 times. It's now $762. And then here's this from 17 hours ago. Ethereum prices passed the $20 milestone in network first. However, does it show it here by chance? Let me back up 1 second. I'm curious because if it lost 20%, I wonder where it's at right this now. Ethereum price. Can we get a price? $15. Latest price down 24.44%, so almost 25%, almost a quarter loss. But it's only $15. Imagine if you bought like 10 of these, okay? 10 of these Ethereums. $150 right now. And think when Bitcoin and everything else go apeshit, even though, according to the webbot, Ethereum's not going to be a Bitcoin, it'll never be Bitcoin, and it won't reach the price levels that Bitcoin will reach, it's still going to be shocking in a good way. So for any early adopters, you may want to try and get some Ethereum if you want to play that game. Personally, I would never play this first. I would be playing with, not playing with, but getting my physical precious metals. Once I'm satisfied with that, which I am, by the way, then you got a little extra money to play around with. Go ahead, buy some Bitcoin, buy some Ethereum. Now, you could easily argue and say, well, hold on, what if I did do that with Bitcoin and said, screw precious metals? I would think you're crazy back a few years ago because you're playing with some digital thing that you can't even print it out, for God's sakes. You can't even print out a Bitcoin, much less grab one and walk around with it. You can't do anything. It's just on the internet. I'd rather have this in my hand, knowing that I've got something that I could physically walk up to somebody in an emergency situation. Here you go. I'd like a loaf of bread and some eggs, please. Urgently. Thank you. Here you go. What am I going to say? Listen, when the internet comes back online after the big power outage and this whatever the hell happened here, Mad Max scenario, I've got some Bitcoin I could transfer. No, I want to survive now, so I need to know what you have now. Oh, well, in that case, let me get my silver stash. Here you go. Right? But you could argue Bitcoin was $2 a few years ago when it first came out. Several years ago, technically. Not a few. A few is 3 or 4. Several is like 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? Just want to clear that up for you. And you could say $2 Bitcoin. Oh my God. Do you remember when it went up to $1,200? I do. And I remember thinking some of these people, this kid had 750 Bitcoin on a hard drive that he threw away early on because he didn't care about it anyways. It's just a stupid Bitcoin thing. It's not going to do anything anyways. And then the price went crazy. And he realized it got thrown away a while ago. It's in a landfill somewhere. Even if I could retrieve it, it's dead. It's underground. You can't put a hard drive underground in the dirt and expect it to survive. So, $1,000 Bitcoin, even though it was $1,200, but I got to have easy math right now. $1,000 times $750,000. So someone could easily argue that they've got these Bitcoin when the thing first came out and used their own computer to generate them when it was easy to do the hash code. And maybe they had their computer running for a month and gathered up 750. Maybe they purchased 750 times $2, 750 plus 750, $1,500. So at $15 silver, that's 100 ounces of silver. But then it went to $1,000 a piece from $2. That's an insane percentage. So you could absolutely argue that would have been the better decision. And I would argue back that it's not the safest decision. And what I try to tell people is the safest way to keep your financial livelihood alive when all hell breaks loose. But I do mention these things because if you do want to gamble and play this little game and get in and out, or however you want to deal with it, you can certainly do that. And I'm going to tell you, I am actually thinking right now about purchasing some of these rascals, maybe 100 of them, $150. I guess I'm going to have to go figure out what wallet system works with this particular coin, because it's not going to be the standard Bitcoin wallet. It's going to be a different kind of key, I believe. So, your little wallet code. Nonetheless, I think I want to go and get some just in case. So I'm going to go do that. Take care.